Hi all, I'll welcome you all to the free training series of Network Configuration Manager, part 1. Today, the topic is configuration backup and disaster recovery. So today we'll be looking at configuration backup and disaster recovery, which is the first part of Network Configuration Manager's free training series. The second part will be held on June 18th, which is 1 week from now. That time we'll be covering the topics of configlets, compliance, role-based access control, and reports. If you have not registered for the second part of free training session, you can do so by clicking on the link provided by our panelist. Nikhil Frederick, Product Expert Network Configuration Manager, and I'll be your trainer for this free training session. This is the agenda for today's session. So first, we'll look at why do you need a network configuration management tool to start with, then how Network Configuration Manager becomes your comprehensive network management tool, what are the additions of Network Configuration Manager, and the requirements for installing the product. And then we'll move on to the functionalities of Network Configuration Manager one by one, which includes device discovery, credential association, configuration backup, viewing configurations, change management, firmware vulnerability management, and finally, we'll end it with disaster recovery. So first, let me move on to the first topic of today, which is why do you need a network configuration management tool? So basically, configurations are considered pivotal for every network organizations because a single line of configuration can make or break a network. Hence, it needs to be monitored effectively so that no unauthorized changes are made to the configuration. That is very difficult in large and growing network infrastructures because the users cannot manage all the devices configurations at a time for change in compliance manually. So without a tool, this would also lead to a path where there would be more security vulnerabilities as well as human errors. In order to avoid this, you require a network configuration management tool, which eases the work of network operators as well as provides some functionalities, which includes minimizing configuration errors, detecting configuration changes in real time, rollbacks to trusted configurations whenever required, ensures industry standard compliance with the industry policies such as PCI DSS, HIPAA, SOX, etc., and also streamlines the maintenance process. So this is where Manage Engine Network Configuration Manager comes into the picture as your comprehensive network management tool. So Network Configuration Manager is basically a network change and configuration management tool specifically developed to manage complex configurations of all your network devices, which includes routers, switches, firewalls, etc. So it helps you take complete control of the device configuration management lifecycle. So here I have listed some of the functionalities which Network Configuration Manager can do. So let's start with job scheduling. So what is this? So basically with Network Configuration Manager, you can schedule network operations such as backup or anything else. Suppose there will be a lot of operations which you don't need to perform immediately. So that those operations can be scheduled at the right point of time. So using this particular job scheduling option, you can perform that. Next is configuration comparison. You can compare two configurations of different devices or two configurations of same devices side by side, which is also color coded to provide better readability. It has real-time change detection. So whenever a change is made to a configuration of a device, it immediately alerts the network operators. Next, we have configuration rollback, where it automatically rollbacks to the previous baseline version or the previous stable version whenever this is enabled to minimize the changes done to a core device. Next, we have user-based access as well as change review and approval mechanism, where admins play the authority. So you can restrict the user access for certain operators, and you can provide them only 2 or 3 devices or vendor-specific devices to them to manage. If at all they make any changes to the devices which you have given to them, it will go through a review mechanism where the changes will be immediately notified to the acting admin, and the admin, if he requires only, he'll accept. Otherwise, he can choose to reject the change as well. So this will be notified to the operator as well. So this comes under role-based access control, which will be explained in detail in the part 2 of Network Configuration Manager. Next is policy compliance verification. Network Configuration Manager provides 4 policies as a default, which includes SYS, PCI DSS, SOX, and HIPAA. On top of this, you also have the opportunity to create custom policies from scratch, depending upon your organization's requirements. Next is remote firmware upgrade. So using Network Configuration Manager as config lets feature, you can push remote firmware upgrades also. So these are some of the important functionalities which you can do with Network Configuration Manager. So now let us look at what editions we provide in Network Configuration Manager. There are 3 editions which we provide, which include free, professional, and enterprise. So free edition is basically you can manage only 2 devices, but professional enterprise you can manage more devices. In professional, maximum you can manage up to 10,000 devices, and in enterprise you can manage up to 50,000 devices. Let me tell you the difference in the next slide. So here in the left side, I've listed the professional editions architectural diagram, and on the right side is the enterprise editions architecture diagram. You can see the difference is that in professional edition, you can deploy it to a particular server, and in that server, you can manage the network devices configurations. But in enterprise edition, if you have a headquarters in one location, and if you have many branches in diverse locations across the globe, you can utilize this enterprise edition, where you can deploy the central server in the headquarters, and you can provide all the probe servers to the branches. So whatever you can manage these configurations of different locations with the central server. So the headquarters will know what changes are happening in all the locations. So in this way, you can easily know which location, what changes are being done. So it minimizes the cost also, as well as it provides complete visibility. So this is the difference between professional edition and as well as enterprise edition. Next, let us move on to the prerequisites of Network Configuration Manager. So here I've listed some of the minimum system requirements for 50 devices for Network Configuration Manager. So you must have a 2 GHz dual core processor, 4 GB of RAM, 100 GB of storage, PostgreSQL or MS SQL database support, as well as Windows or Linux operating system. So this is for 50 devices alone. So if you are an organization which has more number of devices, more than 50 devices, you can visit the system requirements page of Network Configuration Manager, where we have listed the system requirements for up to 50,000 devices. So this PPT as well as this recording will be shared to you via email once the session is completed. So you can utilize this PPT, and you can utilize the links, and you can view the system requirements as well. So here are some of the protocols and ports in Network Configuration Manager. So protocols supported include SSH, Telnet, SCP, TFTP, SFTP, as well as REST API. Let me quickly walk through the ports as well. So 69 is for TFTP, 22 is for SSH, SCP, SFTP, 514 is for syslog, 13306 is for database, and 8060 is for HTTPS protocol. So let's move on to our first functionality of Network Configuration Manager, which is device discovery. So here I have given a short architectural diagram of how SNMP discovery works in Network Configuration Manager. So basically, the discovery engine of Network Configuration Manager will send an SNMP request to the device. The device will in turn send an sysobject ID to the discovery engine. Then the discovery engine will match this received sysobject ID with the default or custom sysobject ID available. So if a match is found, that means that then the device will be added automatically, and the corresponding device template will also be associated. If not, if there is no match found, that particular device needs to be added manually, and you can manually add the device template as well. So the SNMP profiles we support include version 1, version 2, as well as version 3. So these are some of the device discovery types available in Network Configuration Manager. One is SNMP discovery, and another one is the manual addition. So basically, SNMP discovery is for SNMP enabled devices or SNMP supported devices. So there we can discover the devices in 3 types. One is by providing an IP name or a host name. Another one is by providing an IP range, and the other one is by importing a CSV file. So let me show you this in the UI. So this is the UI of Network Configuration Manager. For discovery, go to Settings, Discovery. Here you can see there are 3 types. One is IP / host name, where you need to provide an individual IP or a host name. You can select the credential from here, and you can click on Discover. The particular device will be discovered. Next is the IP range. Suppose if you have a set of devices under a particular IP range, you can provide the start IP and end IP and select the credential and click on Discover. The devices under this particular IP in this particular IP range will be discovered immediately. Next is the CSV file import option. So here, if you have a list of devices, you can just put it up in a CSV file, and you can just import it here and click on discover. So the whatever devices are contained in that particular CSV file will be imported immediately. So we actually have a particular format to follow for the CSV file. So here I have listed that format in the below this slide. So you can see that hostname/IP address, device template name, series, and model. So this needs to be followed for every device, and then only you can upload the CSV file. Next, we look at the manual addition. In manual addition, it's mostly for SNMP disabled devices or quick addition to your inventory. We can use manual addition. So there are two types. One is add device, another one is the CSV file import. So for that, go to devices, add a device. So here you can see you can provide the host name, the vendor of that particular device, the device template that needs to be associated with the device, as well as the series model if required. So and click on add, and this particular device will be added along with the device template which you have given. Next is the import device from a text file. So here also the same as the CSV file import. You can put the devices in this particular format mentioned over here, and you can just browse the file and you can upload it. So then those devices will be added to the network configuration manager's inventory immediately. So this is basically device discovery in network configuration manager. So here I've listed some of the possible errors which you may encounter while discovering your devices. So the first one is device is reachable and SNMP community is correct, but still device is not getting added. So there may be two reasons. One is the incorrect SNMP read community, another one is the disabled SNMP in the device. You can check for the read community as well as you can check whether SNMP is enabled in that device, and you can try again. Next one is the device sysobject ID not mapped with any of the device templates. So in this scenario, there won't be any device templates available. So what you can do is you can add a new sysobject ID to the device template, add sysobject ID finder in settings. Next one is no default device template is available in NCM for the particular device type. What you can do is that you can add or clone an existing device template, or you can contact NCM support that you require this particular device template, and they will provide the necessary support. Next is device templates. So what are these device templates? So device templates contains all the commands required for a device's functionality. That is, there will be diverse devices present in a large network infrastructure with a diverse amount of vendors as well. So each device types will have different configuration commands, such as for backup and upload. So the network administrators cannot keep track of all these configurations and add it for every device whenever it is discovered. So it is a hectic process. So what they can do is that they can simply use this device template option. So we have in network configuration manager, we have around 200 plus device templates, which covers a large number of around 4,000 device supports. So what this particular is used for is that admins cannot create every command. So what using this device template, you can just implement this particular device template to the configuration of a device, and you can get started with it then and there. So go to config automation, click on device templates. Here you can see some of the device templates that are listed here. From here, you can view the template, you can clone it or export it. We also support REST device templates as well. So here you can just click on any of the device template, and you can see that see the configurations such as backup configurations, change detection configurations, and such. So if this particular configuration commands are suitable for a particular device, you can just add this device template to the newly discovered device, and you can just start working. So this is device templates in network configuration manager. Next is credentials. So these are some of the possible combinations of protocol for backup operation in network configuration manager, which includes SSH, Telnet, SSH TFTP, Telnet TFTP, SSH SCP, SNMP TFTP, SSH SFTP, as well as REST API. So here's an example of SSH Telnet protocol configuration backup. So what happens is that network configuration manager will initiate a configuration backup command to the particular device, and in turn the device will start the transfer of the configuration via SSH Telnet, and then it will reach, and then it will be encrypted and stored in network configuration manager's database. So this is the walkthrough. Next is the SSH Telnet TFTP protocol. So a network configuration manager comes with a built-in TFTP server. So what happens is that it will send a configuration backup command to the device, and the device will in turn send the file transfer using TFTP. and that file transfer which has happened will go to the TFTP server, and then it will be encrypted and stored in the database of Network Configuration Manager. Next is the SCP server. Previously, we saw TFTP server. Next is SCP server. So NCM also has SCP server. So here, the same walkthrough happens. Only thing is that the configuration file transfer will happen using SCP, and it will get stored in the SCP server, and then stored in the encrypted and stored in the Network Configuration Manager's database. This is SNMP TFTP. So here, the difference is that the TFTP server will send an SNMP request for configuration backup, and the configuration file transfer will happen using TFTP, and it will go to the TFTP server, and then it will be encrypted and stored in the database of Network Configuration Manager. So now let us look at how you can provide credentials in Network Configuration Manager. So here is an example of when a password and enable password is configured. So as you can see, left is the telnet and right is the Network Configuration Manager's apply credentials screen. So you can see that you need to provide login name, password, and the prompt. And in the enable password type, you can provide the you can select password and provide the enable password and as well as the enable prompt. Next is an example of directly going to the enable mode. So here you can provide the login name, password, and the prompt. But in the enable password type, you can select on password and you can just leave the password fields empty. So in this way, you can directly go to the enable mode. Next is the enable mode with no password. So here, after providing the login name, password, and credentials, in the enable password type, you can select no password and you can provide a prompt. So what happens is that it will move on to the next operations without asking for a password. This is an example of empty password. So after providing the login name password in the enable password type, if you click on empty password and provide the enable prompt, it will show an empty space for a password. So after you click on enter, it will go to the prompt and you can start using it. So here is an example where we have configured username as well as enable username password. So after providing the login name password, there is an enable username as well as the enable password also has been provided over here. So here is an example of a 3-com router where the prompt has been changed to colon. So this is just for an example. And here is an example of REST API support. So Network Configuration Manager also supports REST API. So this is for a PF-Sense device where the protocol is selected as HTTPS. The authentication type is selected as local database. The username and password is provided. You can select the configuration file type and you can click on save. So in this way, REST API will be enabled. Also, Network Configuration Manager supports SSH key authentication as well. So instead of password authentication, you can just create an SSH key and you can provide that particular key over here and provide the prompt and then proceed with the enable password type. So let me show you that in the UI. So here you can see a key symbol near the device. You can just click on it and the apply credential screens appear. So here in the protocol, you can select any protocol you require, which is SSH, TFTP, whichever of your choice. And here you can provide the login name, password, the prompt, and here you can provide the enable password type. So this is how credentials can be applied. So here is the REST API. So if you want REST API, you can enable this and you can provide the details. And here is the SSH key authentication. So instead of password auth, if you require SSH key on, you can just select the SSH key which you've created, and then you can provide with the credential. So this is basically how a credential work in Network Configuration Manager. So you may think that whether I need to create credentials for every device individually, but that's not the case here. Network Configuration Manager has credential profiles of feature where you can create credential profiles and then it can be easily associated to the devices whenever a new device is added to the inventory. So let me show you that. So config automation credential. Here you can see credential profiles. So these are the credentials, some of the credential profiles created. To create a new one, you can just click on plus symbol over here, provide the name, description. If it is SSH, you can provide the login name, password, prompt, and whatever details you want, and you can just click on save. After clicking on save, this particular credential profile will be saved and it will show in the device discovery screen. So you can just select the particular credential required and you can just proceed with the discovery of the device. We have credential rules. So we have even more simplified the process of associating the credentials to devices. So here we have created a set of rules. Like specific criteria protocol, as well as the particular protocol and credential profile, where whenever a device is discovered, if the credential rule is enabled, the devices will be automatically assigned the credential profile if it satisfies the created credential rule. Suppose if the criteria is satisfied, that particular IP range device, the criteria is satisfied, the given the selected protocol as well as the selected credential profile will be immediately applied to the particular device. So here you can see credential rules over here. Let me show you an example of this. So here you can see a rule name, you can provide a rule name description, and in the criteria, the IP address and IP range is given as this particular thing, and the vendor is given as HPE, and the protocol is given as SSH, and the credential profile has been associated. So what happens is that whenever this particular IP range, any device is identified or discovered, that is HPE vendors are discovered, the particular protocol of SSH as well as the selected credential profile will be immediately applied to the devices. So this is all about credentials in Network Configuration Manager. So this is one of the possible error during credential associations you may find in Network Configuration Manager, which is TFTP or SCP servers have not been started. So what you can do is you can check the running status of TFTP or SCP servers in NCM server settings. So let me show you that. Go to server settings. Here you can see the running status, whether TFTP server is running, SCP SFTP server is running, syslog server is running, etc. So if the status is showing as not running, you can just stop and restart the service and try again. So next we will move on to the topic of backup. So Network Configuration Manager provides backup in three ways. One is the instant or bulk backup. Next is the syslog based automated backup. And next is the scheduled backup option. So the first one is instant or bulk backup. So if a new device is discovered in your inventory, you can just select the particular device and click on backup, and that particular devices will be configurations will be backed up immediately. So you can also perform this for multiple devices at once as well. So let me show you this in the UI. So from the inventory screen, you can select any number of devices you want. Select the three-dot icon over here and click on backup. As soon as you click on backup, the operation will be executed, and these backup operations will be completed in in another 5 or 10 minutes. We have real-time change detection, which is syslog based automated backup functionality. So how this works is that whenever a change is detected in Network Configuration Manager will automatically back up that particular configuration. So you may wonder how that happens. Let me show you that in the next slide. So here is a clear explanation of the process of how does it work. So if a user logs into a device, makes some changes and exits that device, a logout message will be immediately sent to using the syslog listener. So as soon as the logout message is received, Network Configuration Manager will immediately back up the configuration, and then it will automatically compare that particular configuration with the previous configuration file. So if there is any deviation, or if there is any changes found in the particular configuration file, then that particular configuration will be saved as a new version. If not, the backed up version will not be saved as a new version, and it will be discarded. So this is how automatic change detection works. In order to enable this, you need to enable change detection for devices. So what you can do is you can just click on enable change detection. Here you can just click on save, and you can enable the change detection option. Here are some of the possible errors which you may encounter during this change detection process. Or the one common reason is that NCM doesn't support syslog for a particular model. So what you can do is that enable syslog by connecting to the device and executing the enable syslog commands manually, or else you can contact NCM support. Another one is that when the device change detection is enabled, but change is not detected. So the common cause could be when the device and NCM supports syslog, mismatched ports could be a reason. And if the NCM syslog server could not be in a running state, you can check that in the NCM server settings, as I mentioned before. So next we have scheduled backup. So this is for this is some of the devices in your network infrastructure require continuous backup. So this cannot be done by network admins remembering this device needs to be backed up at this particular date and time. So what you can do is that those type of devices you can just associate to NCM's configuration backup scheduling, and network configuration manager will automatically perform the schedule operation and send you the report. Let me show you this in the UI. Go to config automation, click on schedule. Here you can see the schedule type is configuration backup. If not, you should check the configuration backup. Schedule type as configuration backup, and you can select the device group or devices for which that needs to be done. And you can here the report notification option, you can click on whether you need to send email or you can just save it as a report. So this option is nothing but once this operation is finished, if you need the operation report of this particular operation sent to your email immediately, or you can just save this report in network configuration manager. You can just look at it next time. So here are some of the scheduling options which are present: hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and once. So depending upon your requirements, you can just click on any of this and you can just start working on it. So this is basically schedule backup. So during schedule, if a failure occurs, then but that particular device's credential could be incorrect. You can check the credentials again. You can try the scheduling again. And during backup, here are some of the common causes that could cause a backup failure. One is the credentials are changed or invalid, then a backup failure could occur. If the ports are blocked or the server, which is TFTP or SCP server, has not started, then backup failure could occur. If it's a huge configuration file, you can change the timeout settings of the device template and you can try the backup. Or if in the particular device template, if there is any unsupported backup commands provided for that, unsuitable backup command is provided, then backup failure could occur. So what you can do is that you can edit the commands in the device template, or you can provide a suitable device template matching the device's configuration backup commands. Next is viewing configurations. The first one is comparing configurations. So what you can do is that you can compare two configurations of different devices or two configurations of same devices side by side. So this is color coded, where added lines are shown in green, modified lines are shown in purple, and deleted lines are shown in pink. So let me show you this in the UI. So what you can do is that if you want to see what change has been done to a particular configuration file, you can just click on that particular device, and you can see here there are a lot of configuration changes listed over here, and you need to see the version number 28's change. You can just click on it, and you can see that with the previous version there were 2 lines modified, and with the baseline version there were about 20 lines that were modified. So what you can do is that you can just click on this particular thing, and you can see that modified 20 lines. So which line has been modified to what? So here you can see the added lines as well. So these lines have been added over here, which are not there in the previous slide, and these lines were deleted. So this is a thorough view of the particular configuration changes that have been happened in the particular device. So this helps you keep track of all the configuration changes, as well as you can know what change has been done to which particular line. So if there are 1,000 lines present in a network configuration in the configuration of a device, you can just easily view the change even in the 1,000th line. So this is the usefulness of network configuration manager's view. Next is baseline configuration. So what is this? So basically, baseline configuration is nothing but the strong or stable configuration which is required during an unexpected network disasters. So what network configuration manager will do is that once the baseline version is labeled, it will immediately show that particular version as baseline during configuration upload during disaster. So what you can do is that you can immediately upload this particular baseline version and you can make use of it. So let me show you that in the UI. So if you require a particular version to be labeled as baseline, just click on that particular version, click on this icon over here and click on set as baseline. So this particular version will be changed as baseline. So what happens is that next time when you upload a configuration, if suppose there is an error in this particular device, you can upload the configuration. While uploading the configuration, that here the particular version which you labeled as baseline will show for both startup and running, whichever you have marked, and you can just click on upload. So this particular version will be uploaded immediately and the device will be stabilized. So this is baseline configuration as well as uploading configuration. Here is a possible error encountered during configuration upload. That is, we don't support upload feature for this device. Like some of the common causes could be that telnet or SSH protocol is used, which is not supported during upload. What you can do is that you can edit the credential from telnet SSH to SSH TFTP or SSH ACP, depending on the devices. Next one is that when SCP TFTP protocol is used, the device vendor supports, but the NCM device template doesn't have upload commands for the specific device. What you can do is you can clone or create a new device template suitable or contact NCM support. Here's another example possible error for upload failure. Some of the common causes include command timeout. So you can change the timeout of a device template and you can try the upload again. Based on the protocol, you can again check for the running status of the TFTP SCP server and server settings as well. Next is startup and running sync. So this is an important functionality in a network organization because the running configurations should always be in sync with the startup configurations, because all the changes will be done in the running configurations. So basically, if a device shutdowns or reboots unknowingly or accidentally, the changes made to that particular device will be deleted or it will be lost if it is not synced with the startup configurations. So therefore, whenever a change is done to a particular device, it should always be in sync with the startup configurations. So how NCM helps here is that it detects the conflict and it will automatically sync the configurations as well. So let me show you this in the UI. So here in the inventory screen, you can see a column over here showing the configuration conflict section. So some of them are in sync and some of them are showing conflict detected. So as soon as it shows conflict detected over here, you can just click on the particular device on the three buttons over here and you can click on sync configuration. So as soon as you click on this, a particular running configuration will be immediately synced to the startup configurations and the configuration conflict will not occur. So this is startup and running configuration sync and network configuration manager. Next is some of the possible error during this time. Change happens, but startup running conflict is not detected by NCM in real time. The common cause could be disabled real-time change detection. So what you can do is that you can enable change detection for the particular device if the syslog is supported for that device. If syslog is not supported, the startup running conflict will be detected and reported after the next successful scheduled backup or manual backup operation. Next, we move on to change management. So change management is an important feature of network configuration manager. So what you can do is that you can view all the changes made in a device. You can automatically the change to configurations are versioned. You can know the who, when, and what of each change. You can also get the historical change trend of the device, and you can also view the number of modified, deleted, and added configuration lines. So the most important feature in change management is change notification and rollback. Let me show you this in the UI. Go to config automation and click on change notifications. Here you can see some of the change notifications which have been created. To create a new one, just click on plus symbol over here, provide the notification name and description, and select the configuration type, whether it should be any configuration which is changed, whether it should be specific to running startup, or if any custom configuration has changed. And here you can select the change type, whether it is an authorized change or unauthorized change. Whether so the criteria which you set here, only the particular notifications will be sent, otherwise it won't be sent. So you can provide a clear description for what you require. And then you can select any one of the mediums like email, SNMP, traps, syslog, or ticket. So what NCM does is that if any change is detected to a particular device associated with this email change notification, for example, it will immediately send an email to the required recipient, and you can know that this particular change has been happened in this device. Next, we have the rollback option. So rollback options can be utilized for any core devices which does not need to be where you don't need to do any crucial changes to configurations. So here what you can do is that you can enable rollback functionality and you can select whether it needs to roll back to previous version or the version label baseline. So how it works is that whenever a change is detected for the device associated, it will immediately roll back to the selected option. so that no authorized or unauthorized changes go through this. Next is firmware vulnerability management. So firmware vulnerability management is a dedicated feature in network configuration manager. So how it works is that network configuration manager gets updated data every day from NVD as well as from crucial vendors such as Cisco, Fortinet, etc. And it will update the database in network configuration manager every day. So as soon as this database is updated, it will list the devices which are vulnerable with the CVEID, base course, severity, whichever is required to find the root cause of the vulnerability. So after that, you can click on the particular link provided and you can apply the patch fixes. So let me show you this in the UI. As you can see, there's a separate tab provided for firmware vulnerabilities. Here, you can view all the vulnerabilities that have been detected so far. So here, how the listing format is that it will provide the CVE the base core, the device count, how many devices are affected with this particular CVE as well as some of the reference URL and a short overview. These reference URL may contain details of the particular CVE and how you can apply the patch fixes. So you can utilize these links. So next we have the exposed devices tab. So here it provides the host name, vendor, version, series, as well as model. So for this particular vendor, series, model, there are around 16 vulnerabilities detected. So you can similarly view for the other devices. So here for this particular vendor Fortinet, for this particular version 4.0, FortiGate 51B series, there are 25 vulnerabilities detected. So in this way, you can easily find how many devices are for a particular device. Next, we have version distribution. So it shows for a vendor's particular version, how many vulnerabilities are found and how many devices are present for that particular version number. So you can decode immediately that, okay, fine, this many devices are affected for this vulnerability, and you can immediately apply patch fixes depending upon its severity. Next, we have the sync vulnerability DB option. So what is this is that vulnerability data from NIST, that is NVD, as well as from other vendors will be synced with the database of Network Configuration Manager every day at 3 a.m. So you can also set a specific timestamp according to your need. You can customize that time according to your need, and that particular time, the database will be synced. Also, an NCM allows you to change it, as well as if you are in a closed network, you have the option to upload the CVE details. So let me show you that in the UI. So here you can click on manual import and you can upload the file as well as provide the checksum, and you can import the data. So in this way, all the vulnerability data will be available without the database sync. So how this works is that we have created a separate help page for which contains the file as well as the checksum. You can just click on the link provided over here. You can download the file, upload it over here, provide the checksum, and you can just import the data. So this is only for closed networks. Next, we have the advanced CVE search option. You can just provide a CVE search and give a search, and it will just provide the details of the particular CVE and all the reference URLs will be provided over here. So this is about firmware vulnerability network configuration manager. Next, we will move on to disaster recovery. So whenever a disaster recovery occurs, the main issue happens is that the performance of your network gets degraded. There will be a lot of network outages as well as security breaches. So in order, how can you avoid that, or how can you be prepared? So what you can do is that you can have a baseline configuration for every device, which is which does not intend to have a security loophole. So you can create baseline configuration. You can ensure that startup and running configurations are in sync. You can provide change notification as well as rollback to critical devices. And then you can also export your configuration to your system, as well as you can back up the database. So the first three we have already seen. Now let us look at export configuration and database backup. So in export configuration, what happens is that you can select whichever devices configurations you need to export, and you can just export it to a destination in your system so that you can utilize it in the future if any disaster occurs. So let me show you this in the UI. Go to settings, global settings, and click on export configurations. So here you can select the option whether never daily, weekly, or monthly, and run every which date and time. notify on completion by email. So you can provide an email ID. Whenever this operation is completed, it'll ensure that it'll send an email to this particular email ID. You can select a specific device which you need to export the configuration, or you can select a device group available. If you want Cisco router device group, you can just select over here, and you can just provide the destination direction. So where you need this particular configurations to be exported, and you can click on export configurations now. Next is the database backup. So database backup is nothing but the backup of network configuration manager's database. You can take it, you can schedule this backup, and you can take it monthly or weekly to a particular backup directory, and you can utilize it in future. So let me show you that in the UI. So here we have the database backup option. So what you can do is that you can just enable it, and you can select whether monthly or weekly. You can select the date and the backup directory over here. Here you can provide the password as well to ensure extra security that nobody else would go through this particular backup file. And then you can click on save. So this is about database backup and network configuration manager. So if you are already a customer of Network Configuration Manager, you can get a $25 gift card by just reviewing about it. So if you are happy about it, you can just provide a review in the link provided by the panelist member, and you can get a $25 gift card. Also, I'm glad to inform you that NCM is now FIPS compliant as well. Our panelist member will also share the link to this particular page which you have created. You can go through it and get to know how it is FIPS compliant. So this is the agenda for part 2 of Network Configuration Manager, where we'll cover configlets, compliance, role-based access control, and reports. So in that, we'll be covering scheduling, CLI configlets in general, and compliance, role-based access control, notification alerts, and reports. So thank you all for today's session. Hope it was useful to you. See you all in part 2 of Network Configuration Manager free training sessions. Bye-bye. Have a great day.